Welcome back to the Sports Zone here on AM 1380 WTYM, brought to you by Walker Motor Company in downtown Katanning GMC. We are professional grade, and welcome to all you watching on Ustream, our Ustream channel, getting live feeds right here in the studio. And on the phone, we have Ohio Valley Athletics Pirates beat writer Mike Waterloo. He's going to break down the Pirates season. I told you don't even have to watch it. He's going to tell you everything that you need to know. Mike, how are we doing today?
I'm doing great, John. How you doing?
Can't complain. Now the snow's melting. The weather is surprisingly nice. That means it's baseball season. And let's just jump right into it. I guess you could say the prized move by the Pirates this year would be to be bringing A.J. Burnett in. They trade two low-end prospects, 25-year-old right-hander Diego Moreno and 20-year-old outfielder Exardo Callanes. I hope I probably butchered that. But also they got the Yankees to pick up $20 million on the $33 million tab on Burnett. How big of a deal is this?
I think it's a huge deal for the Pirates. I mean, you have to look first at how they structured his contract. I mean, they only have to pick up $13 million, and the fact that they're paying him $5 million this year, that allows them to make some moves at the deadline if they need to. And then the remaining $8 million is going to be paid to him next year. And if they get rid of him by July, they won't even have to pay that all. Another team can pick it up. But as for the actual presence of him, it's huge. I mean, he's a 35-year-old veteran. I believe this is going to be his 14th season pitching. He can teach the young pitchers on the staff a thing or two. I mean, the past 3 years in New York weren't his best of his career, but he still knows how to pitch. He's far from done. He's a big strikeout pitcher that they have been missing for a while. I mean, if you want to compare, James McDonald led the Pirates last year with 142 strikeouts, and A.J. Burnett had 173 for the Yankees. So that's definitely going to help the Pirates. I mean, they were last in the National League with only 1,031 strikeouts.
Absolutely. He's definitely going to help in the strikeout department. Now, that brings us to opening day. And we'll break the rotation down in a little bit, but opening day, you got to think he's the attraction. He's the guy that's going to put people in the seats. He's going to be the opening day starter, you assume?
I would be absolutely shocked if he's not out there opening day. I think it is a huge move. The Pirates are showing that they're going to spend some money, and they didn't give up too much. I think you owe it to the fans to put him out there. The fans are really excited to see him.
No, I know it was the main. The main topic in a lot of radio shows, including this one. Now, let's talk, and I'm just going to jump. This is hypothetical. Let's jump a year ahead. Eventually, they got to start bringing up some of these guys that they invested money in. Garrett Cole, Jameson Taillon, Stetson Alley, eventually, whether trade or bringing them up. Is this going to lead to a lot of clearing house of the pitching rotation? They also have Brad Lincoln, who, they do have a lot of time and money invested in for the most part. They'd like to bring him up. They'd like him to produce, I guess. Is this a good problem to have, or is this going to be kind of a train wreck logjam here in a little bit?
I don't think it's ever a bad problem to have too many starting pitchers. I mean, because you can always dangle them in trades. I mean, this is Correa's last year in his contract. Bedard just signed for 1 year. A.J. Burnett, there's no telling if they're going to trade him at the deadline this year, because that's how the Pirates work. If he starts off real hot, they can dangle him out there for a contender. But if not, I think it's a great problem to have, like I said. I mean, I see McDonald and Morton being around for a while. Karstens, I'm still not sold on. He was their best pitcher overall last year, but I don't think he's a long-term starter. But he proved everybody wrong last year, so who knows what's going to happen. But yeah. I think it's a great problem to have.
Yeah, worst case scenario, they put Karstens back in the bullpen. That's kind of what he was good at before. Also, I'm not really sold on Correa. He did have the most wins for the Pirates last year, but he got a lot of run support and he struggled down the stretch. So this could potentially be his last year in Pittsburgh. Let's switch sides of the field. Let's go to the offense, because it was, to say the least, not impressive. They were 14th in the NL in runs, 12th in batting average, 13th in RBIs, and 14th in home runs. Any sign of life from the offense this year that you can see?
If there's going to be a sign of life, especially in the power department, it's going to come down to one person, and that is Pedro Alvarez.
I knew you were going to go that way. Go ahead.
He has not shown he's been able to hit. Last year, he had a good rookie campaign, But then in the off season, he didn't want to do the conditioning. He came into camp overweight. He was too worried about his wedding. Lost confidence. He got hurt with a groin injury, and he hasn't been able to show he can hit a curveball. But that's the only thing that the Pirates are missing. If you look at the rest of the projected lineup, it's actually respectable for the first time in a long time, except the fact they don't have anybody who can put the ball over the fence.
Yeah, and that could be, and it's not necessarily going to be the big issue this year because a lot of the sluggers, well, two of the main sluggers in the division left, but it wasn't a very power-oriented team. It wasn't a team that was very good at coming back if they were down early necessarily. And we talked about Pedro Alvarez. Apparently, he came in. He lost a little bit of weight this year coming in, or he's working on losing weight, and maybe he's got his swagger back. I don't know. That time will only tell. But as far as the rest of the team, there isn't a whole lot of power. Right? Obviously, you have McCutchen, but whenever your center fielder and sometimes should be your leadoff guy is leading your team in home runs for the majority of the season, that's not good. Any chance that they do dangle one of their prospects, they got a lot of people. They got a lot of people in the farm system now. Whether it's a pitcher or they still got Starling Marte down there. Although I believe he's untouchable at this point. Anybody they dangle to maybe bring in a bat. We talked about this all last year how they need to bring in a bat, and they ended up bringing Ryan Ludwig in and Derek Lee, and that obviously didn't work out as much as they had hoped. But they did crumble down the stretch. Are they going to end up maybe trying to go get another bat this year at maybe at first base?
I definitely think it's a possibility. If they do, it's going to be around the trade deadline again, and it's going to depend on where they stand in the sittings, where they are in the standings at that point. Excuse me. So if they do, there's a couple people they could. Alex Presley, they could always dangle him if he is going to continue the way to play like he did last year. Starling Marte, I wouldn't call him untouchable, but they would have to be blown away.
Right.
Neil Huntington. He was on record saying that no one on the team is untouchable. That means Pedro, Neil Walker, Jose Tabata, and Andrew McCutchen. But it's definitely a possibility. I think it's more likely that they deal with pitcher to bring in a hitter. Because like you said, their farm club, their farm is actually the best it's been in a long time with pitching and hitting. So they definitely have the prospects.
Well, that's always good for a Pirate fan to hear that, hey, there's good people in the farm system finally.
Yeah, definitely.
Now, going into the 2012 season, we got about a month away, a little more than a month away. Any sleepers on this team that you think could really make an impact that no one's really talking about, or someone that could step up this year and contribute?
There are actually a few of them that I have down. Juan Cruz, he's been around forever. He is a non-roster invite to camp, and I think there's actually a good chance he can make the team. But in order for him to do that, he has to beat out Daniel McCutchen. So that might be a little tough. Nick Evans, they actually got him from the Mets. He played for them last year. He's kind of just like Garrett Jones is. He plays outfield and first base. He struggles against righties, but he hit .295 against lefties last year. So I think he'd be a good guy on the bench. And a sleeper that I'm looking for to make the team is actually Jose Morales. I believe that Mike McHenry is going to start the season in AAA. And the reason I feel that is Morales, I mean, he's a good hitter for backup catcher. He's not as good defensively, but the main thing about Morales is he has a out in his contract. If he doesn't make the team out of camp, he can just leave the organization while McHenry still has options left. So
that leaves McHenry can go down to AAA, whereas the other opt out for him is that he can leave the team if he does not make it. That would probably, I guess, give the Pirates more motivation to let him on the team. Whether, I mean, if he stinks it up, you don't want him on there. But any chance McHenry comes up, and because this is from a strictly obviously not statistical point of view. This is I guess speaking for the very basic fan who loves Mike McHenry, Fort McHenry, not a very good hitter, does block the plate well. Any chance that he comes back up throughout the year, or at least maybe as a routine starter again, like he was last year? Although they were stricken badly with injuries at the catcher position, so him starting routinely was kind of a fluke. Any chance that happens again?
Well, I definitely think he'll be back up. I mean, you're only one foul tip off the hand from having Barajas out for the year.
Mm-hmm.
And I could be wrong. I mean, I'm just using Morales as a sleeper here. McHenry could very well make the team right out of spring training. But I definitely say by June he'll be up in one way or another.
All right, well, those are your sleeper guys. Any potential for people to rebound this year? There were some people that struggled last year. We didn't really. You expected more out of any guys that really are going to bounce back this year for the Pirates that you think you're going to make a better story. You're going to say, well, yeah, they prove what they're worth.
Yeah, a couple of guys actually, and they're both newly acquired. One Pittsburgh fans are very familiar with. His name is Nate McLeod.
Uh-huh.
Everybody remembers him.
Mm-hmm.
I actually feel really bad for him. He's a great guy. He went to Atlanta. His career was just filled with injuries, whether it was concussions or what have you. But I definitely look for him to rebound and push Alex Presley for his starting spot if Presley can't keep it up. I expect big things from him and Casey McGee. In 2010, McGee had his career year. He hit 316, on-base percentage of 358, and slugging 589. Last year, however, he hit 169 against lefties, 228 on-base percentage, and hit 185. His slugging was only 185. Those numbers are a bit misleading. I think he had a better year than what the numbers showed. And he is very frustrated. I did have a chance to talk to him already, and he's looking forward to rebounding and proving people wrong. And the last person who can bounce back is, once again, Pedro Alvarez.
Well, yeah, everyone's hoping and praying that's the case.
That's what everybody is praying for. I mean, the Pirates wanted him to play winter ball, but he declined. He wanted to go to California and do conditioning instead. So he came into camp a lot slimmer than he was last year. So, but being slim doesn't mean that you can hit the ball. So
right.
It's going to be interesting to see with him.
All right, well, hopefully Pedro can bounce back because they have a lot of investment. He was supposed to be the next Bonds for the Pirates, or they're still looking for that Bonds, but Barry Bonds. But hopefully something gets straightened out there, and he doesn't. And he was making strides last year, but it was kind of the wrong kind. Whenever he was back down in the minors, like, oh, he's hitting singles left and right, great. I'm like, well, they didn't draft him to hit singles necessarily. I mean, singles are good, but that's not necessarily why they drafted him. So we'll see if he can bounce back, get his swing back. One more thing I wanted to touch on. Bucco's president Frank Coonley. This is just reported recently, even though it happened back in December. Was pulled over for a driving under the influence charge and has since apologized. Ownership has expressed a little bit of disappointment. Any chance at all there's any kind of repercussions for this other than the legal system taking its process? Any chance that the Pirates come down on Coonley at all?
I don't think they will. I think anything that's going to happen has happened already. They've had discussions. I think it's just going to be handled internally. And they're just going to let the law take its course with him. I mean, he did apologize, but I mean, I'll let you determine if he actually meant that or not.
Yeah, that's up to evaluation, I suppose.
Yes, it is. So I don't think anything else is going to happen to him, but I do believe he is on a very short leash right now. And if something happens like this again, then Mr. Coonley might be out of a job.
Fair enough. Now I'll get you out of here on this, and I'm going to put you right on the spot. How do the Buccos finish up this year?
All right, I think the Buccos are going to improve again. However, they're still a few years away from contending. It is a weak NL Central. Astros are out next year. So with that being said, Pirate fans, so close to breaking the streak that I have them going 79 and 83.
Oh, you got them teetering with the 500 mark, but just under.
They're going to tease everybody again.
Well, you know what? It won't be if they teeter around there all year, I'll be okay with that. What I don't want is for them to be leading the Central, or leading and all of a sudden in July, and then they blow up at the end. That was just disheartening. That was like someone threw a dart in my chest. And then they kept pushing it in further. I would prefer them teeter around 500 and be happy with the 500. And that's how bad it is to be a Pirates fan right now, by the way, that you're just begging for 500. But to be leading the division in July and then you fall apart and you're still one of the worst records in the league, that was disheartening. So you at least have them steadily, one win for every loss kind of a deal the whole way through?
Right, yes. I think they teeter around it. And if they do start off hot and blow again, Pirate fans are going to have to find another scapegoat because I don't think Jerry Mills is going to blow another call in the 19th inning.
Yeah, there's not going to be another 19-inning game to say, well, that changed the season around. That's whenever the Pirates got. That's when that tore their whole season apart. But you know what? As the season goes on, we're going to have you back on here, and you can give us some of your evaluations throughout the season. Does that sound good?
I would love to come back on anytime, John.
All right, thank you very much. That's Mike Waterloo, Ohio Valley Athletics Pirates beat writer, with us. Thanks again, Mike, and we'll be talking to you soon, I'm sure.